All right, so you know your pentatonics. You even know a little bit of theory. But how come all your licks kind of sound the same? And what's up with those modes? Today, I want to talk about some real-life practical approaches of how you can make your pentatonic playing more melodic and more expressive pretty much immediately. Most of the time you'll actually be using the exact same notes that you've already been using, but you're just going to be using them in a different way. But why should you be listening to me? Hi, my name is Ulrich. I've been playing thousands of shows on 3 continents, and in my almost 30 years of guitar learning, I've also had the joy of teaching hundreds of students on how to be more expressive at guitar. I'm also the founder of Total Guitar Transformation. That's where I help my students to just play with more freedom. So how come that we feel stuck in a pentatonic in the first place? Well, it probably has to do with the fact that most of us start right there, right? We just start right like here in the key of G. We probably would start right here, right? With And that's already the good version because I'm already playing phrases and kind of melodies, but you know, most people play more like this. And then you're pretty much stuck in that position. Yeah? I think we've all been there at some place. So what do we need to do to adapt this knowledge here of these notes? What does it take really to start playing more musically with these 5 notes? Do we have to learn a bunch of scales? Do we have to study a bunch of theory? The answer is no. Well, today I want to show you some of the concepts that I teach my students, and to make it further useful for you, I'm going to add a free PDF guide about the Hendrix chordal style that breaks down this wonderful approach that I'm going to show you here in a second. It's one of the most powerful ingredients that you're going to learn today. But let's start at the beginning. Instead of the G minor here, I want to have you play the E minor pentatonic. That sounds like this. Can you hear that? The reason this works so well is that the E minor pentatonic is also the G major pentatonic. So that's the first important revelation that probably most people watching this video have already had, is that you can play all your minor blues licks that you've already learned in a major setting by using the relative minor scale. So again, we have here G as a root note, and I play my favorite blues licks over this. And it already sounds pretty good, right? But of course you need to learn that vocabulary. The secret here is that it's much less about playing particular shapes of the fretboard, or you know, dividing the fretboard in a certain way. You just need to learn some killer licks. I mean, that's really it. And big part of that is to really have good phrasing. You need to be solid with your string bending. You need to have good vibrato. You need to use some slides. So you just want to have a good touch on the instrument, and even those simple licks can sound like pure gold if you just play them the right way. So that's just an important side note for you, that, you know, if you don't have the foundation, if you play those licks, or actually I'm going to show you one more lick. Let's use that lick as a test. I'm going to break that lick down for you, and you want to make sure that you can play that lick somewhat as expressive as I'm playing it here. Yeah? I'm talking about this lick here. Pretty simple lick, right? But make sure you really can bend that string to the same pitch here. And then that was a little sharp. One more time. See? That's a release band here. See how it works? One more time. And then a nice vibrato at the end, yeah? Let's play it one more time together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would call this first step pristine pentatonic phrasing. If you don't have that locked in, your playing is always gonna suffer and you're never gonna be fully happy. Now, I don't want to go into depth here in this class, but there's plenty of material where I teach my students how to develop this clear kind of bending style and clear mechanics. If you're interested in that, then go down there in the description. There will be a link for you where it says layered lead guitar system. Yes, but let's continue here. So we got the first ingredient, good pentatonic licks. The second ingredient is to take these notes from the G major pentatonic and we're gonna just reshuffle them a little bit. Instead of playing it like this, I want to show you this lick here. One more time. Do you see how these are exactly the same notes? Same notes as the E minor pentatonic, yeah? The only thing is we're using double stops here. This is very much in a style that guys like Hendrix would use. I would actually say that he was the first one to use this kind of stylistic element from guys like Steve Cropper or Curtis Mayfield that were coming from the soul corner. He would start using this in rock music. And so this is really genius because this really ornaments a G triad here, if you notice this, yeah? So it got the three notes of the G triad, and we got it's really great to ornament it that way, yeah? Because instead of playing licks, we can now play. Sounds really musical, right? Yes. All right, and since this is a triad here, you know, not knowing where you are in your knowledge or so, but we can use this triad and play it in different inversions. Yeah? So this is our root position here, G triad, root position. So we can also play this lick here. You see how that works? So we are basically embellishing the G major triad. And we got, and then here, and here, second inversion. You see how it works? It's beautiful, isn't it? So if you want to learn about this Hendrix chordal style, that's a term that I came up with, but I think it describes it perfectly, then I want you to go down there in the description of this video, because I just released a brand new Hendrix chordal style guide that I really should be selling, but I just made it, so I'm just gonna give it away for free to you today. Click the link down there below and you can download that free chordal style guide. And if you want to let me know what you thought about it, either here in the comments or you email me back, I would really appreciate the feedback. Awesome. But now let's continue. Let's see what we have. We got the licks, we got the chordal style. So let's combine those two elements over our beautiful backing track from the beginning, and let's see what happens. Yeah, I can hear you say like, but Ulrich, when I do this, it doesn't sound like this. You gotta put in some hours. I mean, this is not gonna just drop from the sky. But this is the principle, and you might have noticed I didn't really outline the chords. The chords in this piece are G major, F major, and D minor. Huh? And I wasn't really outlining chords. I was just playing this G major sound all over the place. Huh? Now the next step is that I can go and start outlining those chords a little more. And again, I have to use my knowledge about the relative major and minor here. If you know that F major has a relative minor of D minor, then this is going to help us a lot. Huh? Because we got the G chord here. You can play the G chordal lick here. And then we have the F. We could play F chordal lick. Again, G chordal lick. And then we got the D minor. Guess what we're going to play there? D minor chordal lick. Yeah, we could come up with something like that. But we can also just play the F major chordal lick. So we can play it here maybe. And then go back to the G, right, from the beginning. So what if we just do this and nothing else? Do you think it's going to sound good? Let's try it. Again. Isn't it amazing? So we just play G, F, G, F, and it already sounds like we are outlining all the chords. So you see that sometimes you actually need to do way less than you think. And you don't need to think about all these complicated scales. You don't need a bunch of theory. You just need to understand how music works and how voice leading works. This chordal style is more or less a voice leading secret, where you can just go from one chordal structure to the next. You know, if I go like just go to that F and it just sounds super smooth, right? All right. So what happens if we take a third little element and mix it in there? It's already so obvious, yeah? Because we kind of like in this soulful, pentatonic, bluesy kind of style, right? So what if we play the sixth interval, yeah? Both those notes are also in the pentatonic, yeah? So we're not inventing any new notes. We're still playing those 5 notes that we had. But again, arranging them differently. So this outlines our G. It's basically like a G triad. We just leave away the middle note. And then on the F, same thing. Can play these notes here. F. And then let's play those 2 notes. Also in the E minor pentatonic. This is a B note, this is a G note. Beautifully outlining also our G major triad here. Let's mix in just these 3 and let's see what happens. All right, let's get going. Nice, 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 nice. All right. So you see the huge potential of this approach. And this is essentially what I call the layered lead guitar approach. And I'm just using here 3 layers in a very, very limited form, like just like a little nucleus. If you want to learn more about this whole approach, first about the Hendrix chordal style, I'm just gonna fill you up here on this YouTube tutorial. I'm gonna give you my free Hendrix chordal style guide that you can find down there below. And I'm also gonna throw you my layered lead guitar system. This is essentially the blueprint of what I teach my students inside of TGT Academy. And it gives you a really workable approach to use those 5 pentatonic notes and just arrange them in new ways to have more creative voice leading, to have better rhythms, and just to play with more musicality. Eventually, of course, we're gonna add in more notes. You know, we don't have to be stuck with just 5 notes, but this approach is actually gonna open your eyes on how to see the fretboard, and you're gonna be able to play in any key, in any chord quality, and just see all these musical pathways on the fretboard. Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. It's gonna give you a lot of new ideas. And while you're here, check out this lesson next, because this is also about the chordal style.